We are here with a different type of video today. I wanted to come together for the Roblox community and answer the long life question that everyone's been asking, because, it's totally on everyone's mind. Is Shonen Unleashed better than ABA? Today's video, I'm going to be breaking down every little thing about both games, comparing it to my opinions. We're going to be going through animations, VFX, sound effects, modeling, skins, gameplay, balancing, maps, everything that I can talk about with both of these games, I'm going to go into and break it down, try to have a completely unbiased opinion about all of it, and decide which one is better. And so, with that being said, let's jump into the first category I want to talk about, the character roster. I just gotta say, ABA has a fuck ton of characters. There is endless amounts of content right here at anyone's fingertips. They have One Piece, Dragon Ball, Naruto, Bleach, JoJo's, Hunter x Hunter, JJK, MHA, Fate, Fairy Tail, Chainsaw, Demon Slayer, SAO, One Punch Man, and even random just miscellaneous characters that don't really belong in certain categories. They got it all. They have everything. And each one of those rosters that I've named usually has at least 5 or more characters in them, especially the early ones. The main bigger animes, One Piece, Dragon Ball, Naruto, Bleach, they're almost completely filled out on the pages. And they got a lot. There's tons and tons of playtime there just to go and grind for those characters, which instantly is a big thing to try to compete up against. Like, from all the years that this game has been around, there's kind of just no trying to fight that. The quantity that they have for this game is immense, and I will never dispute that. Now, the quality of those characters is an entirely different story, but that's for a different subject. We're basing the roster point here of the amount of uniqueness, the amount of characters, and the sheer amount of different rosters that there is. All in all, it is crazy to see just the differences of all the insane amount of characters that there are in here. You have some that people probably will never even know or heard of or seen. Some very odd choices, but honestly, I kind of fuck with it. And then obviously the very standard basic ones like the main characters, of course, and then having the pre-time skips and then their time skips and whatnot and all that shit. All in all, though, ABA comes out swinging in the first category so far. Now, on the SU. SU does have a really solid roster, in my opinion. However, obviously, it is not even close to ABA's amount of characters. ABA has had years and years and years under its belt to develop and add more characters. Well, obviously, it adds much more than SU does. Shonen still does have some really good picks that aren't really found in ABA, so that's good at least for them. They have a little bit of uniqueness, and most of the characters that they have don't at all play like they do in ABA, but still, at the end of the day, Shonen Unleashed does not have a giant amount of characters compared to ABA, of course. They still do have around, I think, 40 characters. I could be wrong. I could be stupid. The roster in Shonen also does look a little bit smaller because of the variant system, so that's at least a couple extra characters there since it changes up their awakening. But we'll talk about that more in a different section. Shonen Unleashed is out here with a great roster, great line of characters, but it will falter towards ABA, so we're going to give the point to ABA here. Next category we're going to talk about is modeling. Now, the modeling kind of goes hand in hand with the skins because obviously it's basically the same thing, but we're going to put it in its own category for now. It's just going to be a shorter category. Modeling for ABA, it's kind of bad.
What is that? What the fuck is that?
The models are kind of bad. I'm not going to lie. Then again, half this roster was made a while ago, and just the quality of them is not good. You have characters like just any of the pre-time skip right in the beginning characters. Naruto, Luffy, Zoro, Goku, Ichigo, and even some of the like miscellaneous characters and all that. The models look bad. They're very bland. The texture is just there's no texture at all. There's no shading, there's no coloring, there's no anything. It just looks bad. It looks bland and boring. Now, obviously, we can't fully blame them. it's for it, you know, they made the games forever ago. However, you've had all this time to go back, touch up those characters, remodel and remaster any of them, and it seems like they just aren't. Like, especially with their beginning characters, I thought that by now they would have tried to go back and completely redo them, but they haven't. So most of the models wise, they look pretty bad. Now, that isn't saying that every character looks terrible. There is some exceptions, especially with some of the newer characters. They don't look bad at all. Like, I can't believe I'm fucking saying this, but Arlong does not look bad. His model is actually very good. I don't remember how to say his name, but poop, how the fuck? Pew pew, poi poi, pee pee, however the fuck you say his name. I don't know how to say it. His model is very good. There's shading, there's detail, there's things about it that I feel like every one of these games should be having. And I like that. However, majority of the roster is suffering completely. They look like they're stuck in 2012. Even if we aren't going to just, you know, refresh them and their movesets and whatnot, try to refresh their damn skins or base models at least. Some of these are an actual crime with how they look. And some of it isn't completely by just model in general. Some of it is literally just their outfits. Their outfits are pretty bland. There's no texture. They look just dirty almost. It's weird. I don't like the style that they have with the outfits. And it also goes even for some of the moves. Some of the moves that have modeled assets, it just doesn't look good. And I'm sorry to say it, it just doesn't. Especially with Guts. Guts' ult move is... It's abysmal. It's abysmal. But I'm not going to harp on it too much right now. I kind of said everything I need to say about it. Let's move on to SUs. Now, for Shonen Unleashed, I gotta say, their modeling is 10 times better than ABA's in every way. I'm sorry, I just have to say it. Everything that they do when it comes to the modeling of this game is fucking beautiful. The maps, the characters, the skins, the abilities, the weapons, all of it looks fucking beautiful. From the simple outfits, the swords, the random summons, it all looks great. There's nothing really else to say about it. I mean, everything is fucking perfect. From crazy detailed Susanos, to massive motherfucking frogs, and to a big ass monkey man. There is a lot to deal with the modeling and just how great they all look. It's a short little description for SU's versions, but I mean, just from the looks of it and all that you guys are seeing, you can tell that it is higher praised and much more professional. So, at the end of the day, SU is getting a point for the models of both games. Let's talk about skins. ABA has tons of fucking skins. I can mostly assume that there is over 200 skins, knowing the fact that there's up to 189, I think I said, or 190 characters, or however many I said. There's a lot of fucking characters. And each one of them at least has 2 or more damn skins. And I saw earlier that one of them had 39. So, I can greatly assume that they're most likely in the 300 range, or still even more than that. And a lot of them are actually pretty cool and good in design. However, execution-wise, a lot of them are very poor. Like as before, with everything that I've been saying, the quality is not very good for them. The models, the textures, they're all very old, bland, shit. But the concept of them, I love. There's a lot of good concepts and skins in the game that would probably be really great if they were just reworked a bit or remodeled, retextured, any of those things. And a lot of them would be perfect. Don't get me wrong. As much as I don't like how most of them look, the concept of being able to kick somebody's ass as Akainu while being Patrick Star is pretty fucking hilarious. We're playing as Mob and being able to be Silver, which honestly the model for this one isn't actually that bad. Some of the skins are much better than others, and then there's some that fall to a terrifyingly terrible category. You have a lot of variety to choose from, though, and a lot of cool-looking fucking skins, and a lot of great concepts. It's just that a lot of the execution is very, very poor, which does kind of suck. Hope maybe one day for ABA they can update a lot of those skins, because it does blow that a lot of them are just not all that. There is some bonus points and brownie points there, though. I will say that. And there's definitely some skins in here that I would definitely rock. Now, obviously, with the skins, you might be thinking, why does it really matter? They're just cosmetics. And yeah, they are. You're not wrong. They are completely a chosen thing that if you want to rock them, you can go for it. However, skins are a big thing in the anime ballerina categories. There's usually 3 things to grind and look forward to when it comes to these games, which is a new character, prestiging, or some new bling to, show off that you got. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I would want to ever drop a bunch of cash or tokens or whatever the currency is on skins if they look very poor. Now, obviously, I'm not saying every single skin in the game is terrible. There is some that I saw that I would definitely rock if I had them. But at the end of the day, there's a whole gambling system with that of now I got to drop a whole bunch of cash to see which skins that I might be able to luckily get that aren't terrible compared to the newer ones or some of the better ones. It's not a fun thing. Obviously, there's gambling in the other games too out there, but usually the skins are more they're more bang for your buck in a way because they look better than a lot of the things that are here. But for now, we're just gonna leave it at that for them. So for Shonen Unleash's skins, we're a little mixed here. Obviously, with ABA, you have tons of quantity, but not a lot of quality. However, in Shonen Unleashed, it is much different. Tons of quality, great looking skins, but not a ton of them. Now, technically, compared to the characters that are in the game, yes, there is a ton of them. There is a overabundance of skins. But you run into less unique ones of other characters and kind of goofier stuff like how ABA has. In SCU, you can't find, Nickelodeon characters or Cartoon Network characters or whatever the hell you want to think of being put into the game as of right now. But still, every single skin that you end up getting usually looks fantastic. The game is still in its early life cycle. I think it's only been around, I think they're on their 2nd year now. So there's still much more skins to come out into the future, but as of right now, there's not as many really creative or unique skins that just look really bizarre, but fun. That's not to say their skins are bad. There is many, many good skins in this game. Some that even change up the Awakening OST, and some of them almost completely changing the character's entire look when they hit Awakening. There's a couple random unique skins sprinkled in here, but at the end of the day, ABA will hold that as their title. But I'm looking not at the quantity right now. I, with skins, want to look at quality and uniqueness. ABA is currently beating them a lot in the uniqueness. However, the quality of these skins far outweigh ABA's. Like I said before, I want to know that I'm spending my currency on good skins that I will rock in the future, which means I obviously want them to be really good quality. And I know that Shonen Unleashed will always deliver on that. And I'm not just saying that because I got a couple skins in the game. I just genuinely think, and I think almost everybody can from taking any glances at these, they look really, really fucking good. So if we want your imagination, we can give ABA half a point for just having so much and having a lot of diverse, random, unique picks. But for me, in this list, the point is going towards Shonen Unleashed for its quality. Alright, now we're going to do a very quick one for both of these games. Animation-wise, for both of these games, is day and night. On one hand, you have a game that the animation is still stuck in the past. It is stiff, clunky, outright slow, and just jank. And then you have another game that has completely silky smooth animations. It's absolutely ridiculous, the difference here. And I feel like I don't really have to harp or go in too much of detail about both of them at all for this. From even the clips that you have been seeing throughout the video, you can tell that one has much smoother M1s, dodges, up tilts, jumps, moves, and one is just not all that great at all. Now, obviously, like I said, and I'll keep saying it again, Shonen Unleashed came out only 2 years ago, whereas ABA, I don't even know. That game has been around for centuries, it feels like. So obviously, the animations will not, be up to par with Shonen. However, even with newer characters, I'm still seeing the trend, especially even with the newest characters that dropped. They still have clunky M1s and dodges and everything. Like, the animations still feel janky. And I'm guessing it's maybe, like, their style, they may say it is or something, but to me, it just looks like depression. It looks like depression. Like, it's just bland and boring and janky and old. And I'm not really about that. So maybe if you like it, that's not a problem, obviously. But for me, I prefer the animation style of Shonen Unleashed. I think it looks great. I think it looks smooth, amazing, perfect, beautiful, all the fucking words you want to use to describe it. I think it looks fantastic. So I'm going to be giving a point here for Shonen Unleashed. Now, game passes wise, ABA is stacked. There's a lot of game passes. They have character passes, they have voting passes, emote passes, extra gold, skins, and all that, all the above. They even got a random roulette wheel. I will not deny ABA knows what they're doing with their passes, and they're probably making tons of money off that shit. Now, I don't care about game passes. I will never harp on a game for them because, you know what? Do you, dude. Get your money up. I will never blame a developer for wanting to get more money, especially if its game passes don't really fully hinder the game, It's not like to play the game, you need to spend this money. It's just cosmetics half the time. However, I personally do not like what they did with character passes. In these types of games, characters are your #1 content. That is the literal base content of your game. Once you get the fighting system down, the thing that you keep updating and dropping is new characters, and that's what keeps players coming into the game. To lock a character behind Robux, it just feels dirty to me. I don't like it. In some instances, if that character's broken, you can easily claim that a game is pay to win. And I really don't like that. Now, even though that does negate points from it for me, ABA still has a solid amount of things that you can buy. Characters out of the question alone, like still with the emotes, the double voting, the extra gold, the skins, the currency drops, and the Wheel of Doom. Like they've got a lot and a solid amount of game passes. So right now they're looking really up. Now for Shonen Unleashed, it's kind of fallen flat here on the game passes side. There's not really much game passes to spend on. The game passes you got here is a private server purchase, which is kind of nice. I like that it's a one-time purchase and not every monthly. And then you just have the currencies for the game. So the cash, the tokens, the diamonds. And then you got potions, which is for double XP, double cash income, and a double luck potion. Now, the game passes are very basic. There's no skins locked behind stuff. There's no characters. There's no emotes and all that stuff, which don't get me wrong. I like that there's nothing with the characters, but still it feels like it's missing some things. Now, to me, it's also a minus point for them because of the XP and cash and luck potions. I prefer the game pass that I can buy that will like permanently increase my income in some way. Doesn't have to be a lot, but just in some way. I'd rather have that than having to make multiple payments for XP or whatever. I feel like this game could definitely have much more game passes in it. There could be things for more cosmetics, either special emotes or death effects. Maybe just some other random goofy shit that they can throw in there. But as of right now, I think Shonen Unleashed is really low on the Game Pass side, so ABA is going to take the win here with just the amount of access to shit that they have. Let's talk about the main idol hub area, whatever you want to call it. So in ABA, you obviously got Master Roshi's house. It's a nice little island with some nice waves. You got Goku for ranked. You got Killer B for victory music. You got Robin for the skin shop. You got Vegeta for emotes. You got Nami for AFK, Zoro for training, Master Roshi for gold, Usopp for another random skin shop, and of course, you got Mr. Random for all the prestige related shit. All in all, it's a nice little hub area. It's pretty cozy, it's pretty nice. It's definitely iconic for just how long this game has been out for, but visually, it's not as impressive as Shonen Unleashed. It does fit the art style of ABA, obviously, but I mean, at the end of the day, to me, that's not really the best thing. It's a small, nice little area, but it honestly kind of falls flat. So let's move on to Shonen Unleashed. Shonen Unleashed lobby is probably the best one out of the two games. Giant, well-modeled area of Capsule Core, and there's a whole lot to it. You got Piccolo for skins, you got Goku for the training, Joseph for the emotes, Kakashi for the AFK lobby, Sukuna for the death effects, and Vegeta for the rank. You also can't forget Shenron for the prestige shrine. There's tons of leaderboards around the map for ranks, top 1v1s, 2v2s, 3v3s, all that shit is all around. And you even have a bonus of a giant-ass green screen area for all the content creators, which I find to be very, very helpful. All in all, the aesthetic, the visuals, the models, all of it, it looks great to me. And I prefer it much over ABA's. So I'm going to have to give this point to Shonen Unleashed once again. Next, I want to talk about maps. This category is going to be a very quick lightning round for both games. Both these games have a decent amount of maps for them. Obviously, ABA having much more maps than Shonen Unleashed, but then again, the same thing. It's been out for longer, and they're not as high quality. I didn't feel like I'd have to make a really big list about this, since it's just the same exact thing that I've been saying this entire time. They have majority of the maps, however, the quality of them is just not as good. I easily prefer the maps in Shonen Unleashed compared to the ones in ABA. Some of you may prefer that there's just a majority of maps in ABA compared to the maps in Shonen Unleashed, even though the ones in Shonen look better. Some people might argue that having more maps and variety is better, even if they don't look as well. I'm personally going to go towards the quality of them, and so obviously I'm giving Shonen Unleashed this point. However, I would understand if people would vote ABA for this point. All right, let's talk about the training areas. ABA's training area is very simplistic, and I kind of like it. It is training after all. It's not supposed to be anything too crazy visually wise. It's supposed to be a simplistic area where you can get down the basics, and that's all that matters. Visuals in a training area don't really matter as long as you have all the mechanics at your disposal. You have all the boxes for your modes, to show the stuns, to reset the dummies, cooldowns, all that shit. However, I do not like the pads that they have. For me, I prefer a UI where I can just instantly toggle those things instead of having to run all the way back to activate whatever I wanted. But still, you have access to everything here. The best part about this is all the amounts of dummies. There's healing, super, tests, stuns, blocks, trues, up flings, down slams, normal attack. There's a positive dummy, an iframe dummy, a jumping dummy. There's a dummy for fucking everything. There's even a big dummy and, of course, Yamcha. They got everything that they need in here. But the most important part about ABA's training mode is the fact that you can test every single character that you want. You don't have to buy them. You don't have to unlock them in any sort of way. It's just you get in, you get to be able to test whatever character that you want to test out. And I like that. I'd rather be able to test out a character to know that I want to spend a bunch of currency on them rather than just gambling, basically, if I might like this character's playstyle when I buy them. So I really do enjoy that pack. Also, in the training mode, there is a big green screen. I know for the Shonen Unleashed hub area, I mentioned that there was a green screen, and that was great for content creators. But there is also a green screen for ABA. It's just in the training mode. Currently, right now, ABA is looking to have a strong-ass start with the training mode. So let's go and look at Shonen Unleashed. So for the Shonen Unleashed training mode, you are in the time chamber map. Visually, it is very impressive and beautiful, but that's not what we're talking about here. I don't care about that. I want to talk about the training itself. The training here, instantly a good point with the fact that I can flip up a little console area that allows me to use all of the pads that you have in ABA. There's full mode, perm mode, full health, hitboxes on and off, feel evasive, end mode, respawn. There's a dummy menu and all that shit. And I like that it's a UI and I don't have to run and search for it. However, dummy-wise, there is much less dummies in here. There's no up tilt dummy. There's no down slamming. There's no jumping dummy. There's no giant dummy. They're missing a lot of dummies that would be in ABA, which I guess isn't the worst thing possible, but it's still a whole thing of maybe some people want to test out every single possible combo and every single scenario. The dummies isn't the biggest kicker, though. The biggest kicker is the fact that in this training mode, you cannot test out any character that you want to test. I hate that. Now, for me, I don't really have to worry about it. I have tons of currency for this game. I have tons of cash, tons of tokens, and tons of diamonds that I can use on prestige characters. So it doesn't really matter to me about wasting that currency, but I know some people are far much less off than I am. And especially when it comes to the diamonds for prestige characters, I think it's crazy that I can't test out a prestige character to know if I'm going to like them or not. Hence, Johnny. Johnny Joestar, some people might like his playstyle. I absolutely hate his playstyle. Part of me really did not want to actually get him after I saw some of my friends playing him. I still ended up getting him in the end because I played the game much more often than I realized I was going to. But still, it's the fact of what if somebody else is in that scenario, gets Johnny after grinding a long time for 100, just to absolutely despise him and go, fuck it, I don't want to play this character, and then never use him. So at the end of the day, for the training mode, I really think Shonen Unleashed is going to take an L here, and I think ABA is going to get the W. So at another point on for ABA. All right. We are now in the final categories of this video. There should only be 3 more topics left to talk about. But we're going to start off with this one. And now this one is the most important one that I know you've all been waiting for me to talk about. Gameplay. Now, gameplay for these games, it's something. Both games are obviously in the battle arena category. You choose your character, you spawn in the game, and you fight until how many points you need to get, or kills, or lives, or whatever the game mode is for the time. You win, you lose, doesn't matter. You get currency, you get XP, you buy new characters, you buy new skins, you buy new cosmetics, and there you go, Bob's your uncle. That's the entire gameplay loop. Base gameplay, when you look at it like that, it's pretty similar. There's M1s, there's up tilts, there's full combos, there's different combo routes, super armor, hyper armor, iframe moves, cutscene moves, awakenings, ultimates. But when you really start to dissect it, you see that there's obviously big differences between the two games. For the main thing with Shonen Unleashed, it has much more to its combat. With Shonen Unleashed, you have down slamming. Down slamming is basically when you double jump up into the air, you press your M1, and you'll fly down and slammed at the ground. This is just a quick move that you can catch people off guard with, but if you're not careful and they're expecting it, they can easily just block it, and then they counter your move. It can be used in a lot of combos though, and just for combo starting if you catch someone off guard, and it's actually really helpful. There's also the burst system. Shonen Unleashed has the burst system, which means after a certain amount of damage is dealt to you, you will have the chance to use a burst. This will get everybody off you that is currently hitting you or comboing you, which just gives you a nice little reset. There's also perfect blocking, or perfect parry. Basically, when someone's using a move, if you block directly at the right time, it will just kind of launch them backwards. Shonen Unleashed also has power rushes, which is basically if you hit X, you'll dash straight forward towards somebody. So it's usually good for people that are running away, or if it spawns you a little farther out in the map so you can get back into the fight quicker. There's also giants, which I don't think ABA has any giant characters. And then there's your T, for some only characters have them, but that's your ultimate move, your biggest moves, your most damaging moves, and all that shit. When you break down the combat without the balancing, SU already takes the cake with how much more stuff there is. And sure, sometimes having more isn't better, as we've obviously proved in this entire thing. However, the quality of these gameplay changes compared to ABA is so much better, and it gives much more satisfying fights. Which is where we're going to segue into ABA here for a second, and we're going to talk about balancing. Balancing-wise, both games are not perfect. Do not get that wrong. However, ABA's balancing might be one of the worst things I have seen when it comes to anime fighting games. You can spawn in dead already. You're gone. Just poof. You just spawned in. Like, why is there one-tap moves for characters? Why is there two-tap moves? Why is there complete one-tap combos or like TKO combos? It doesn't make sense to me. I shouldn't spawn in and then get hit with one move and then half my HP's gone. Sometimes people don't even M1 you. They just straight up move spam and it kills you. The game is very unbalanced. It is probably my biggest gripe about ABA. As much as I want to hate on the quality of everything, it's the balancing that keeps me from ever wanting to play the game. Like I said, some people may really like that sort of combat where it's just you have unbalanced as shit stuff going on, you're one-tapping people and all that. I don't like that. That's not for me. I play a fighting game. I want to fight. This is about anime fighting characters. I want to fight people as an anime character and make it fucking look like an anime. I want cool shit to be happening. I want our fight to last like at least 30 seconds. But you can't even do that in ABA, because once they start hitting you, sometimes it's already over by then. To me, that sort of gameplay is just not fun. It's not for me. Now, SU, not everything is the most amazing and balanced with it, but it is 10 times more balanced than ABA ever has been. So, with that in mind, with all the extra additions that Shonen Unleashed brings to the table, plus with the difference of balancing, Shonen Unleashed takes the cake 100% for this one for me. Obviously, Shonen Unleashed was going to win with how just better it is in most of every category. It obviously was going to win for me. However, we are not done with the video yet. Stay tuned. I have a couple more things I want to talk about. Now that we have talked about all the things relating to, their balancing and gameplay, like the modeling, animations, character roster, all that stuff, I want to give a little bit of insight on what I think could make both these games better, or what I think could improve the games already. Now, let's start with ABA for that. ABA needs a lot to be done for at least my personal bias with it. I want better animations, better fluidity, better modeling, better maps, and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you can chalk it up to the style of ABA. So I could totally, completely be fine if none of that happened, except for one thing: balancing and gameplay changes. I would absolutely play ABA with some buddies every now and then if they decided to balance characters. I don't want to spawn in and get two-shotted or one-shotted or just move spammed to death and not even M1'd during those combos and just instantly die. I don't find that fun. I don't find it good at all. And if they want to be a little lazy and, you know, maybe like it won't fix the one-tap moves, but they could add an evasive system to counteract TKO combos, getting two-tapped by random moves, and shit like that. So I don't think an evasive system would obviously fully fix it, but if that is one way that I think that they could start to go in a better direction for their game. Now for Shonen Unleashed. Shonen Unleashed right now is having a really bad time with having players just playing the damn game. I personally believe the combat is really fun and engaging. I think the character picks are great. Obviously, I like the animations and all the fucking prettiness that you have with it and the style. But clearly the gameplay loop isn't all there right now. So I think it could use a bit more game modes. Pubs is obviously the main thing that's getting played on that game, so I 100% think that there should be more game modes added. They could do something like Capture the Flag, or like King of the Hill, where you have to hold an area for a certain amount of time and make sure you stay in it. Or they could do some fun anime style ones. They could do something like the culling games, where every person you kill, you get 5 points added to your amount of, points. But also random little, I guess, cursed spirits or AI could spawn in, where if you kill them, they won't really fight back too much, and they'll just have 1 point to them. So the player kills get you a good stack of 5, whereas the AIs that spawn slowly, so you can't just only farm them, will get 1 point. Or you could do something kind of like One Piece related and do like a Davy back game mode. This could be a huge game mode where every so and so minutes it will change the game mode completely, going on to different rounds. So the first round of the Davy back game mode might be Team Deathmatch or Free for All, and it would move into another one where it could, it goes to whatever else other game mode, King of the Hill or whatever things that are in there, until all 3 are done. And the person who racked up the most points in all 3 rounds would win. Or there could be some other way of winning it. It all really depends on how you look at it. You could also, because since they wager during Davy back fights, maybe add an option to wager in some gold coins or other currencies to maybe even get more of a payout for really going in for these game modes, since it might be a longer game mode than the other stuff. One thing that I feel like would expand upon people wanting to come back more and having the feeling of wanting to come back is a better quest system. Currently, all we have is dailies, and that's it. That's all we have for the quest system right now, is just daily quests, and we have, I think, one technical, challenge thing where we can get a character. I think that the quests should be much heavily expanded upon for wanting to get players more engaged and wanting to come back into the game. Obviously, keep the dailies, but add weeklies. Maybe you could do monthlies or, updates or whatever the hell you want to have it as for every, you can only do it during this update. Put in some more gold stuff, some more money stuff, maybe even really hard challenges that will give you diamonds. Some of them, depending on their difficulty, can earn much cooler things other than just normal currencies. Maybe you could have a limited time skin, maybe a limited time title, or maybe these things can be permanent, but you just have to do them at a certain time. You could obviously have daily challenges, weekly challenges, the bi-weekly or monthly or however long it takes to update challenges, ranked challenges, certain game mode specific challenges, certain character related challenges, maybe even some challenges that will unlock a new character or give you a free sort of new token that will just unlock any character for free without having to instantly go and use cash on it. Maybe for a free legendary skin roll or effect roll or something like that. The possibilities are endless, but you can 100% expand on the quest system to just make it better for the players and more likely that they will come back and want to actually play the game and do the quests. The last change that I could think of that would be kind of nice to see, but I know it would never happen, this is just me, yapping at this point. I would really like to be able to see counterplay characters come to the game. Now, obviously, there are some characters in this game that definitely counter others, but I mean to be built around countering other things. Let's say, for instance, Chozo comes into the game. Chozo is all about manipulating blood. Certain characters in SU can do bleed damage to you. They'll add a status effect that will cause you to bleed out, and I'm pretty sure it just means whenever they start hitting you, they deal more damage. You're weakened. You could have passive moves where Chozo, while bleeding, maybe his damage is buffed, or maybe his ability is buffed, or he has some sort of passive where it just doesn't make him bleed at all. It would change up a lot, and especially when it comes to ranked, because if I know that somebody may be playing Dio, for example, or Inosuke, why would I start banning their main if I know that I can play a character that might be able to completely counteract them? And it can obviously just be for many different things. You could also use it elementally wise, where, water type characters can obviously beat up fire characters very easily, where they could just make it so the water character might not be able to get burned, or maybe after a fire user gets hit with a water type move, their power just doesn't work as well. And especially with the One Piece cast, you could also do things like that. There's a Logia types, which obviously every Logia element is going to be weak to another sort of element, so it could just fit with that style. Benel got added, he would do less damage to Luffy because Luffy's all rubber. Logia users could get hurt more by Haki users. Like, they could add a whole bunch of different things, and it's not obviously just mainly with One Piece, but all the different rosters, they could have some sort of different impacts depending on what they use. But at the end of the day, that would take a lot of time to just be able to go through, look back at every single one of your characters, and add those sort of points to them to where that would be a thing, or passives, or whatever you want to call it. Like, it would be a lot to go back through every single character and see which character could have this sort of negative passive thing and which ones wouldn't. Because obviously it wouldn't be for every single character. Plus, who even knows if anybody else wants that? That might just be honestly me yapping and, just doing stupid shit. I just think it would be kind of cool in theory, but I'm not the majority of the player base, obviously. But anyway, that is going to wrap it up for the things that I think that these games could just have that would make it a little better for them. ABA is just missing the polish and especially the balancing. And SU, I feel like, is just missing something with the gameplay loop to keep people to want to come back to it. But that's all for that. Let's move on to the final discussion. Finally. Now, for the closure of this video, I want to get a couple things straight. I did not make this video just to clown on ABA or start a war between the games or anything like that. I made this video because recently I've been posting SU TikToks, and anytime I do, I always get some ABA fan in there who's just dog shitting on SU. And then when I ask them, what do you think is better about ABA than SU? The answer I get is because it's ABA. I don't get literally anything else. So, I didn't make this just to clown on it. I didn't make this just a war. I wanted to deep dive into both games and really see, for me, which one do I think's better. Because personally, I like SU far more than I do with ABA. Now, I'm not saying don't ever play ABA. I'm not saying ABA is so shit you should never ever experience it or want to join it. If you have fun with it, then keep having fun with it. But I also don't want to knock SU out of the race. Shonen Unleashed is still a very high quality game that I think that even if you maybe didn't have the best experience with the first try, come back and give it another shot. Now, I don't expect much people that are ABA fans that don't really play SU to still be this far into the video, but if you are, go ahead. Go give Shonen Unleashed a try again if you already have. If you haven't, why not go give it a try? It's really fun. I think it's a great fucking game, and I think that the devs deserve all the damn praise and good luck that they can get to come their way. I also want to state that this, for me, was a really big passion project at the end of the day. Originally, I was just kind of annoyed. I got raid baited by the kids on TikTok and was like, fuck it, I'm just going to make this video just to prove people wrong. And then afterwards, I just started making it to challenge myself. I've never made a commentary-styled video before. I never realized how much harder it was going to be, especially for my first time not really knowing too much to just be able to speak about things. I had to do a lot of research. I had to actually play both of the games a lot just to get the footage. I had to get more understandings of both the games. And I had a deep dive about what I think would be better with them and what I think personally I like more. It was a fun little experiment. I think I'm going to take a break from the commentary content because this took actually forever to edit and put all together. But it was a nice, fun challenge and experiment for me. So I kind of started to do it for that reason too. Not as much as just wanting to prove other people wrong or whatever the fuck. At the end of the day, I do see some good things about ABA, and I see a lot of good things about Shonen Unleashed. They both have their own good things about them. Whether it's from a massive character roster or higher quality assets, they both have their own strong suits. Both games have so much more potential for growth and updates and player counts and everything that comes with the territory. I really hope that at least some of you enjoyed this type of commentary or type of video style. It's not usually my forte, but I did actually somewhat enjoy making this, as hellish as it was. So please, if you did, leave a like, leave a comment. Please, if you hate this video or if you liked it, leave a comment on what you think that I've said. I would like to be able to debate with some people that are hardcore ABA fans and really deep dive into why they might like it much more. Unless, if I already stated it in here, maybe it's just because it has more characters, maybe because the training mode's better, I don't know. But I would like to, you know, see stuff like that in the comments other than just somebody completely trying to, like, you know, send a death threat to me because I disagree with their game. All in all, I think that's kind of everything I wanted to be said and done. I really hope you all enjoyed. If you want to drop a dislike or a like, I don't care which one. It doesn't matter to me as long as you guys watched it, heard everything I had to say about it, and I got all my thoughts out there. So, yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope some of you enjoyed, and I will see you all in some other Shonen Unleashed related or Roblox related content in general. Bye-bye.